The three voters, Samuel Muhochi, Helef Halifa and Gasheke Gashihi, who are also civil society activists, moved to the Apex Court through their lawyers Dr. John Hamino and Harun Dubi to have the Thursday repeat presidential election shelved. The trio claims the political atmosphere was polarized and it was impossible for IEBC to conduct a free, fair and credible election that meets the standards outlined in the Constitution.
It is not possible for the election to be conducted as proposed, as the fresh election as proposed, because we contend that it will be an illegal, unconstitutional, null and void election. It would be a sham election, effectively.
Chief Justice David Maraga, through the Supreme Court Registrar, certified the matter urgent and directed parties in the case to appear before the bench tomorrow to make submissions before the country's top judges determine the fate of the Thursday exercise.
If the Supreme Court agreed with us tomorrow, which we hope they will, the election would have to be conducted within 90 days of the date of that decision. Therefore, there is no fear that we will have no government. Uhuru Kenyatta will continue to be our temporary incumbent.
The three petitioners claim IEBC misread and misapplied provisions of the Constitution when it gazetted 7 of the 8 candidates who participated in the nullified August presidential poll to take part in the fresh State House contest. They also want the Supreme Court to determine if the Thursday election should proceed after NASA leader Raila Odinga withdrew from the race, claiming the playing field was uneven.
2017, a fresh election is ordered, a candidate has withdrawn, and they have proceeded to continue to as if that withdrawal had no legal effect, effectively therefore seeking to conduct an illegal election.
Muhochi, Halifa and Gashehe had also raised issues on the absence of Cyrus Jirongo's name in the Gazette notice listing the candidates, yet it was on the ballot paper.
What does that mean? That alone could invalidate the election, because it means that the Commission has confused, has even lied to Kenyans, because there is a purpose for the notification in the Gazette, and when you have a stranger in the ballot paper, that means that you are providing an opportunity for a Kenyan to be confused as who she or he was going to vote for.
The Jirongo matter has however been dealt with after IEBC gazetted him in a corrigendum published this evening. And while all eyes will be on the Supreme Court, 2 of the numerous election-related cases at the High Court were dismissed for lack of jurisdiction. Judge Chacha Mwita kicked out a petition filed by Pokot South MP David Kosing, seeking to compel Odinga to participate in the fresh presidential race.
No one can be forced to run in an election. Without concession, I do not know how this court, even if it were to assume jurisdiction, could have forced the 6th and 7th respondent to comply with the judgment of the Supreme Court, even though they were the successful parties before that court, by running in the fresh election.
Activist Okia Omtata suffering the same fate when Judge John Mativo dismissed his petition on the establishment of a caretaker government to prepare for a credible presidential election.
I am constrained to find and hold that the substantial issues raised in this petition are outside the jurisdiction of this court.
2 more cases will be heard at the High Court tomorrow, among them one filed by former Kilome MP Harun Mwau on the constitutionality of the Thursday election, Maraga granting the High Court judges handling the cases permission to sit on a public holiday. The Supreme Court is expected to rule with finality tomorrow, whether Kenyans will proceed to the ballot on Thursday for the repeat presidential election as ordered by the same court last month. Chief Justice David Maraga and his team expected to provide the way forward on a national matter that has raised anxiety as a result of the vicious contest between Jubilee and NASA over the fresh State House contest. Francis Gashuri, Citizen TV, Supreme Court, Nairobi.